Is it like the movies? I just want to know.
I told one of my acting teachers back in Dublin, I was like, hey, I'm in New York.
What do you think is the expiry date of an actor?
Never, I hope. Because where I come from, there's no acting schools. It was just like, it was nothing. My dad was like a big movie guy.
No, stop it. Okay, I was born in the wrong generation. I was in love with
Which was lucky because I didn't have to pay rent then. And,
you know, you were there at the best time. That was when New York was just...
before COVID.
Yeah. I don't know about now.
People at the acting school, they want you to talk about things and show emotions that not a lot of people talk about.
But they never figured out who had killed them. But to this day, like the filmmaker's wife's grandfather, he was certain that it was this American soldier.
Off book, on air.
Okay, so Ronan, welcome.
Yeah, glad
Thank
to be
you
here.
so much for
having me.
making time for us. So please tell us a little bit about your journey, your acting journey.
Yeah. I'm from Ireland originally. I moved to Dublin when I was like 20, 21. I come from a very small village in Ireland, rural Ireland. Just always wanted to be an actor. I kind of was hit with a kind of a thing where like, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. You know, kind of way, like if I don't start training now, because where I come from, there was no acting schools. It was just like, it was nothing. I just like, you know, see him on TV, see the movies that I love. My dad was like a big movie guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really into movies. I mean, that's probably why it kind of,
Right.
you know, he watched like all these big movies like The Godfather, which is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like The Godfather and like just movies that like really great stories, really great acting. And then I just always wanted to do it. So yeah, when I was about 20, I was like, you know what, I'm going to move to Dublin. So my mother's actually from Dublin, which is obviously a bigger, most people will have heard of Dublin at
yes,
least.
Of course.
Where I'm from is Wexford, it's not as well known. So I moved there. I moved in with my grandmother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my grandmother.
Surrounded by women.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I moved in with my grandmother in Dublin, which was lucky because I didn't have to pay rent then. And then I found this acting course, and that's kind of what got me started. It was like a very introductory acting course in Dublin. And that's kind of what started it. And then
What brought you to across?
Oh, well, I actually went further across first.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I did my 3 years acting in Dublin, which was a great experience. Like met lots of like great acting teachers and other actors. But then my friend who I was in acting school with, he decided to go to New York to kind of not even try it as an actor. He just wanted, I think he had a friend over there that, you know, let me go over to New York and just, you know, feel it out, whatever. That's what he was saying. And then I decided he was like, why don't you come to the US? I'm rambling a little bit, but he was like, why don't you come to the US? And so then I signed up for a drama thing in Dublin where they take on people in the US.
Wow.
And they put them in summer camps. So he was like, oh, maybe you can go to New York and we can be, you know, spend the summer together, be like really fun and whatever. But then they put me in Missouri.
Missouri.
How
did that happen? Wow.
It was like so random. They were like, oh, this is like one of the best YMCA camps in the US.
Oh.
So they were like, yeah, this is like, you know, there's like the top 10. This is like number 2 at least, maybe number 1. So we're going to send you there. So then I went there, and then where they put me in the camp there was like the kids camp, you know, but then there was also a family kind of lodge.
Okay.
But where I was hoping to like, you know, teach drama, but it wasn't exactly that. It was more like, families that come to lodge, and then you take them out for boat rides, you take them out, you do like maybe some archery stuff.
Is it like the movies? I just want to know, because these summer camps, you know,
it really was. It really was.
Yeah, and then what is the age range, may I ask?
Well, that was the thing. So it was because I was in the family lodge, not the actual kids camp.
Right.
It was just like I could be dealing with a bunch of like 80-year-olds or something.
Oh wow, really?
Whoa.
No.
And then there was weeks where people wouldn't even be like at the lodge, so I'm just kind of sitting around doing nothing.
So you're just chilling,
homestay.
Yeah, I was just chilling in the middle of nowhere in Missouri.
And you were what, in your 20s?
Yeah, I was like, I think 23, 24 at that point. I just finished acting school in Dublin. And then after that, I went to New York. I was like, all right, I've done my thing. I've done my introduction to the US. And then I was able to go out. And so then I went to my friend out there in New York. And then there, I told one of my acting teachers back in Dublin, I was like, hey, I'm in New York.
Right.
You know, is there any teachers or people you know that you can kind of connect me with or whatever? And she said, yeah, I have this great teacher that is my teacher.
Oh,
So you need to,
Right.
meet her. So then I checked her out. I, reached out to her and she said, yes, I teach at this school. So I was taking a class there at that school like once a week. And then, it was like a night, like a separate thing to the main course that they do there. And so then I was meeting a lot of foreign students, like people from all over the world.
right.
So then I was like, I talked to the office and I was like, can I actually apply for this, as an international student? So they did. So they gave me all the information and then I did an audition and I got into that. So then I was able to get like a student visa at this acting school. And then I was able to spend like 3 years at that acting
3
school.
years
Yeah,
in
yeah,
New
yeah, in
York.
Manhattan. Yeah, and I loved that. That was amazing. Yes, which I never planned or expected.
And that, you were
Yeah.
there at the best time. That was
Yeah.
when New York was just,
Before COVID.
Yeah. I don't know about now.
Yeah.
What was the
Really
kind
was.
of roles that you were doing at the time when you're starting out?
Oh, like the ones I kind of wanted to, or I suppose the ones that I was doing, like in acting school. Have you guys in like acting school? Like,
Yes,
you're
familiar
aware,
with
like,
it.
and
Yes,
stuff like
yes,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. But like you kind of do the big plays like Tennessee Williams.
Of
and,
course, of
the
course.
the kind of revered
Right.
Ibsens and the Shakespeare. and-
Hamlet.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. So I suppose you do a lot of classical stuff that
Yeah.
for me, again, like where I come from, my background was like very different, very new, but I loved it. It was like kind of opened me up to a world that I wasn't that familiar with in a way. But I like those big characters, those kind of larger than life, like the Hamlet you mentioned, or
Is there one that really stood out that you did that you just absolutely adored?
Streetcar Named Desire, probably. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
stop it. Okay, I
Yeah.
was I was born in the wrong generation. When I was 10, I was
Right.
in love with Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a grandpa because I saw all
Right,
these,
right.
back
Yeah.
then magazine photos, not on my phone.
Yeah.
But please tell me who you played.
Well, no, I've done scenes from it in class, but I did.
You did.
Yeah, of
you
course.
did his role,
Yeah,
right?
his role, yeah. I forget the name. What's the name of the
I
character?
forgot his name. Yeah, I should know. I go
Stanley.
smart.
Stanley. Yeah.
Stanley, that's it.
Stanley
The
Kowalski.
thing about Stanley, can we just talk about this?
course.
This is just selfish. I'm sorry, guys. Is when so it's basically about, in a nutshell, man woman, frosty relationship. It's implied that he's a little bit violent. Well, I'm that, put it mildly. But they're so in love and so passionate. They just can't make their minds up. 1 minute it's slapping each other around. Next minute it's just like, take me now. Sorry, I know you acted in this. We're all actors here, by the way, so relax. Don't get scandalized.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to talk about, movies like this are getting blacklisted and cancelled because, you're promoting violence or you're promoting this. And the sad truth is, no, they weren't. They were just bringing that is a reality some people face.
True.
And
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of films that were kind of ahead of their times even
That's true.
back then,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I agree.
What is your take on it?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I definitely love things that like show the truth, whether it's good or bad. I mean, it is what it is. And I think with that play in particular, and with that writer, like Tennessee Williams, like I think he was very much, he just captured life so well and so, but like turned something so dark and made it very like poetic and beautiful. And funnily enough, you mentioned that because that particular movie, at the end in the play, she stays. But in the end in the movie,
Yeah.
she leaves.
She does, yes.
And the studio actually forced him to change it because they said they didn't want to inspire women to kind of stay in those relationships, which is an something I found out like as we were researching it.
Yes, I never realized that.
Yeah.
This was in New York.
I
that
did
you-
this in New York. Yeah, I was actually I was just doing it again in
When
acting
you've
school.
done Streetcar Named Desire New York, you have made it.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Well, it was in acting school. It wasn't on Broadway. Right?
Still, for me, for me holding a boom on Gladiator, I'd made it. I don't even know if I was paid. Sorry, Sir Ridley. But I was like, yay.
And stop.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I was just barely a graduate. I was in my
Right.
first year. and they were filming behind. So that was because everyone asked the question, when do you feel like you've made it?
Right.
But no, for me, this is now, I'm going to be going on about this with the next guest. But what I want to know is like how, not censored, I don't know if censored is the right word, but was it like an 18 plus play, or I mean, was it, was it
Streetcar? When I did it in class, like if we're picking scenes or if we're picking something we want to do, or maybe a teacher would pick something for us. I mean, they just, I think they're very much with us. Like they're not into all this kind of cancel culture either. Like they really like to kind of show things as they are as well. Like the darker stuff. Like a lot of the teachers at the school, particularly in HB Studios was where I went to in Manhattan, which is Herbert Berghoff Studios, which is the Uda Hagen school, basically. If people, she's one of these like these famous New York acting teachers, whatever, so this was her school. So a lot of the teachers there had taught with her, and like, they're just very like classically trained, really into kind of like the grittiness of it, and so they were kind of passing that on to us, and they love that kind of stuff. So they just kind of wanted us to kind of, I suppose, grow and develop as whatever kind of led to that, and then they would just grill us and tell us how terrible we are. You need to do it better.
You were talking about this, that the people at the acting school, they want you to talk about things and show emotions that not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
Which is ironic. When you actually enter commercial film, you have to exactly shut those parts down, because oh my god, how are people going to receive it? How was that for you, when you actually came out of acting school and then saw, oh well, maybe the commercial industry is not as accepting as the acting school is?
Well, I suppose, like, because I was in acting school up until COVID even. Like I was going to do one more final year of like a more intense kind of advanced program that I was doing, and then COVID happened and it shut down. So so I guess the industry wasn't really much happening, I suppose, during that time. And the strikes happened in the US, so there wasn't much. And then I came to London in 2022.
Okay.
So, but for me, I've always tried to move towards just kind of independent stuff, and I don't know, stuff maybe self-producing and kind of writing my own stuff. And I suppose the commercial side of things, which I haven't done loads of or anything like that, but I would find it difficult if I wasn't able to kind of make it my own, or if they were like, it has to be this way because we want to, show this. I would be like, I kind of want to showcase what I've learned and kind of what I've trained to do. And so with like, I know it's a bit more difficult, but with like short movies and the independent sector, I feel a bit more freedom
to explore. You feel it's a lot easier with films to explore your character as opposed to theatre. I mean, some actors say it's the other way around.
In theatre, with theatre or commercial theatre, it depends.
It's different.
It depends. Yeah.
Because the theatre, you've got a live audience, right? So there's no. I mean, it's not saying no room for being off book, because you can. Yeah, we'll come back to that a bit later on. But you can still play an ad lib or whatever, just like you would on films. I guess with bigger actors, a lot of things are ad-libbed.
Yeah.
But in saying that, do you think that straight goes away from the script too much? Some have very heavy opinions of, but you're not staying true to the script and blah, blah, blah.
In film, they do that, you mean, more so?
Which one do you think you can get away with more with regards to ad-lib and stuff like that?
Well, I would say it's definitely a lot more difficult to ad-lib in theatre, because I suppose it has to kind of connect together in the moment on the stage. If you're just making something up, I suppose, then it doesn't kind of go with the next scene that happens. Whereas like if you're making a movie, then if you ad-lib, then maybe you can like, okay, we said that there, now for the next scene we can maybe change. You can kind of change as you go because that's already filmed, or you can just edit it to make it work, or maybe add some music here.
Yes.
I don't know.
Fill it in.
Exactly. Yeah. Fix it in post, as they say.
or have another actor come and rescue you.
Yeah.
But you do film as well. I want to talk more about that. So talk about some of the movies that you've experienced or gone through.
The first time I actually was on a film set was in 2017. So I was still in acting school in New York. And so one of the the people I was in school with, they had a kind of a young up and coming filmmaker, and he wanted to make a movie about his girlfriend's, now wife, grandfather, who was in World War II and had served in where was it? It was in Japan, I think, or I don't know. He was in Hawaii, I think, and they were going out to something like this. You know, their station, whatever it was. And the story was, now this guy was, I think, about 100 at this time.
Oh, good.
He was very old.
Goodness.
And we actually, just before we shot the movie, it was a short movie. Just before we shot it, we actually met him, which was really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, and he didn't live too much longer after we finished it as well. So it was really interesting to meet him.
What a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah. But he had witnessed a moment where basically there was this, the American soldiers had ganged up on this Mexican soldier who was also serving in the US Army. So the guys kind of ganged up on him because he was very arrogant and, was maybe kind of, and he had actually beaten up one of the American soldiers. And so one of them got jealous and basically the guy, he ended up killing the Mexican soldier.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's true account. But they never figured out who had killed him. But to this day, like the filmmaker's wife's grandfather, he was certain that it was this American soldier.
Oh God! Oh really?
So basically, this is what the movie was about. Yeah, it was a story about that. So he told that story to this young filmmaker, and the guy was like, "I need to make a movie about this." So, and he was kind of making short movies as it was. So he was like, so then he kind of got a group of us. So he knew an actor at the school I was in, and then I met him through that, and then I think I just read a bit or something, and then I ended up getting one of the roles in the movie. And that was my first time. So I played like American South, like Kentucky soldier,
like
kind of like,
right.
yeah. And it was like one of the supporting roles, but I absolutely loved it. That was fantastic. And it was very, like you're saying, it was very like more stand here, stand there, which I wasn't used to at all, because I was like,
oh my God,
it was so much more. Yeah, it was more. Yeah, but yeah, basically, yeah. But it was like, say this line. Not that he was saying that, but it was just because it was my first time on the film set.
And were you playing him? Were you?
No, so another guy that I knew was playing him, and then I was playing just another soldier. It was like 4 main soldiers, and I was like playing one of the soldiers. Yeah.
When was this? Was it?
That was in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually
not too long ago.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Tell me, what's the future of cinema?
So something I think about a lot, actually, because with like AI and stuff, it's just something that people talk about a lot.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to know how that's going to change it. Also, I don't know if you saw recently with the Trump tariffs thing on movies.
Yes.
I think
and De Niro spoke up at Cannes.
Right, about it.
Yeah. About the whole Trump reducing funds towards artists.
No, but it's just it's hard to know. It's like, is it going to be more movies made over here in Europe? Is there movies, even American movies, like, are they going to, because I saw a lot of productions actually moving to Europe, even like entire, where it's supposed to be shot in Ohio, like the movie's set in Ohio and they shoot it in Germany or something. It's like, just because it's cheaper and there's more tax incentives,
Netflix has moved a lot of, when I say Netflix, I mean the movies that stream on Netflix, most of them are produced or filmed in Europe. This is, so it's not just me that's sort of, validating this.
Yeah.
Another thing is where, so that's film side. Now come to theatre with regards to funding. Before, now correct me if I'm wrong, before funding used to allow you to go abroad. I don't know when this came in, but a couple of years ago, ACE said that no, you can't go abroad. It has to be here.
Okay.
And
so
now our
England,
tours are.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That's controversial for you, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's actually.
But it's sad because
so there's no like travel bursary.
You can't travel outside.
Like,
so if you've got the money, you can't go abroad.
Wow. That is crazy.
I know.
I didn't know that.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. But things change, and what to do? Sometimes things change, and people are not too happy about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are, but
How do you think your I'd say people who were acting, they started their careers a couple of years ago, let's say 10 to 15 years ago, and the ones that are just starting out. How do you see that they're different, and what sort of things do you actually pick up when you see them for the first time? You meet them and you're like, whoa. What's the main difference that you see between these people?
Gen X and
between Gen X and Gen Z?
Right.
Like, are they quicker? Are they sharper? Are they better? Are they, what are the pros and cons? I don't know.
Yeah, positives and negatives, both.
I guess it depends on. For me, I think what stands out the most, or what I pick up on the most, is like their voice. I suppose if they have like a strong voice, I think, well, especially for theatre, I think that's kind of a big thing,
Yeah,
because if you
you're
have to
right.
listen to somebody for
Yeah,
like 2
yeah.
hours.
Yes.
I heard a quote a while ago actually from Ian McKellen, which I thought was really interesting. Was that, what did he say? In the theatre there's an audience, audio you hear, and whereas in cinema it's a viewer, you
It's
view,
visuals.
a visual. Whereas
Yeah.
that's the big difference is that so if somebody's voice, I suppose, isn't strong in theatre, not that I'm some like theatre person buff or whatever, anything like that, but like if you're going to if someone's going into a career in theatre, it's I think voice is very
It's
important,
very
which a lot of
important.
people just kind of don't acknowledge, or like kind of
W-
don't think about.
yeah.
But then I think, like, when I see it in movies, like if you do have a good like
Presence.
presence but voice as well, I think the camera picks that up too, and I
It's
find
a unique voice
yeah.
is memorable because
Yeah.
you see the moment you hear it. I think star power is when you hear someone's voice and you know who it is.
And you recognize them. Yeah.
Whether it's a
yeah.
singer or an actor, a distinctive voice can take you far. You're
That's
right.
true.
Like you
You're
mentioned
right.
Marlon Brando
they're
there,
calling
like,
that
he's very
voice
distinct.
timid.
yes. Doing how he was just like hooked.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Marlon Brando, it was more his arms, but anyway. Sorry. You're never coming back, are you?
I guess people liked it for different things.
They're calling it
Yeah.
vocal image. They say you command the room with your voice before they even start seeing you.
They say they
Right,
judge you in the first minute. I mean, I'm talking about academic, but it's kind of similar with an audition. You walk in, it's the way you walk in, how
Yeah,
you
the-
greet people,
yeah.
shake hands or not, whatever it is, right?
Mm.
It's the
I judge a limpy handshake. I'm like,
the dead fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
The dead fish.
or they just, so
I don't have
sometimes
names
there's
for
what
them.
I call the hold. Wait, show me. They just sort of, and what is
Yeah,
this?
and-
What is this?
It's more of like a 17th century.
yeah.
That happened to me the other day in a very important place. I won't say that. I
No.
can't say.
Right,
no.
Okay. Keep it for the next one.
Yes. What about lasting in the sense in the long run? Like, De Niro, you've got decades, or like some Madonnas, they keep reinventing themselves. Whereas I find the sort of younger, say 25 to 35, as soon as they turn sort of 30, 32, they're forgotten.
Right.
And then the next lot come. And now people are like, oh, Taylor Swift old, or so, Justin Bieber ancient. I'm like, then I might as well die. Dig my grave.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think is the expiry date of an actor or a creator?
Never hope.
Yeah. You
Never.
can tell, poor thing. He's like,
Well, I suppose
eternal.
I remember actually, because we always had to do a bit of dance in whatever acting school, or at least the one in Dublin. That,
I know where
a
this is
little bit
going.
of dance. But the teacher said, she was like, it's like, you actors are lucky. This is what the dance teacher said. You actors are lucky because, with dance, it's, I don't know, you go up to 30 or 40 and then
Yeah.
you have to teach or something. But she
True.
said, at least with you guys, you can play older parts.
Yes.
So she was kind of envious.
You're right. You're right.
I just remember,
No,
remember
you're
that.
right.
She
I
said to
remember
me.
you telling me dancers
Have-
die twice.
Yes.
Once when they
Yes.
stop dancing. And
That I stole from Martha Graham. She said in her autobiography, dancers have two deaths. The first is when you discover you can't do the things that you could do.
Mm.
And then once all of that stops, that is like you because you feel useless. When you love something, it's your life.
Mm.
And some dancers are basically athletes. I don't know, I can't remember who said it, but they said dancers are the athletes of gods.
wow.
Wow.
It was yeah. And I was like,
Yeah?
thank you.
Quite an image.
Before you go, tell us what you're working on now. You would tell
Oh, yeah,
yes,
of course,
please
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Please do before you
So
go.
I just did a short movie that I acted in and then co-produced. We're just kind of in post-production now with that. We'll see how that goes. We're hoping to maybe do festivals, or who knows. We'll see.
Any spoilers
Just
for
make
us?
it. It's about this Irish convict who's his best friend it was also kind of a bit like him. We're a British guy, but they kind of used to hang out together and squat together and kind of do petty thuggery kind of stuff together. So his now friend that he hasn't seen in years has become a theatre artist, and so has turned his life into like a theatre show.
Right.
And so he's become like a bit very pretentious. It's kind of like a little dark comedy kind
Oh,
of.
I like this.
So he's become
Okay,
he's become very pretentious, his friend. So then I meet him and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like I want a piece of this. So then I kind of try to get involved. But then
Right.
when I get there, it's a very like kind of crowd that I'm not very used to. It's a whole thing that I'm not used to. It's the style of the thing that he's doing is he says, it's like gutter art. It's like this. And I'm like, what the hell?
Okay.
Like, me and you used to like drink together and go
Yes.
booze and whatever. Like, what the hell's going on? But that's kind of what the story's about. So it's like a 15, 20 minute short.
And it's wrapped.
Yeah, we finished filming. yeah.
Brilliant.
It was
But
very
you're
intense.
on your way. You're
We're going to do
incredibly
a post,
busy. You're going to another
post-production
post-production.
session or like an
Oh,
editing
fantastic.
thing. We're bringing a show to the Edinburgh Fringe as well, which it was the one we did at the Camden Fringe last year, which I know you also were at as well. So we're bringing it to Assembly. Assembly is a theatre in at the Edinburgh Fringe for like 30 days for a month. But it's a bit of a darker topic. It's based on something that happened where I grew up. It's to do with the sexual abuse in the church, involving the kind of child.
This reminds me of that film Spotlight.
Yeah. It's a lot of people have said that actually. So there's something like that happened in the area where I grew up. So it's inspired by that. It was.
I'd very much like the.
Yeah.
When is that? In the May one or the June? Because they're two.
In August.
August.
Edinburgh Fringe,
Okay.
yeah, at Assembly. Yeah.
Okay.
So we did it for 3 nights. We did like a kind of a 3-night run at the
Okay.
Camden last year, like an experiment, just to see how people would receive it. So we got some good feedback, and so we said we'd take it to Edinburgh Fringe. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's heavy but important.
Yeah.
It's something.
Okay. But Ronan, thank you so much for coming, and I hope we have a part 2 maybe. You've been listening to Off Book On Air, and if you liked what you heard, then please like and follow.